I think we're almost live. Oh, I think we're live.
All right.
Let's see if it shows up.
We're live on Facebook.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Let me make sure. How is everyone this morning?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caffeinated and ready to go.
Happy February 20th, our second week of Midwinter Midwifery. And it's kind of, I don't know, it doesn't feel wintry. It's kind of warm out in Texas, here at least.
It depends on the hour, really.
That's true.
Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
4 a.m. is cold.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry that you actually know that.
Do that, yes.
Fair point.
So, welcome everyone to our weekly service. We're glad you're here. First of all, everyone say hi. You know, here's who we have joining us this morning, helping lead the service for our gathering. This is your crew. Aurelia and Fran are out of office this morning, recharging some. So I'm glad they're doing that. And they often, in my absence, will do this. So I'm glad to return the favor for them. And it's so important that they get away and recharge. And in fact, today is Lyle's birthday. So happy birthday to Lyle.
Happy birthday, Lyle.
Birthday, Lyle.
Woo!
It's kind of not the same without him popping a cowboy emoji into our feed.
Just a random cowboy emoji.
I think everybody should post a cowboy in honor
Yes.
of Lyle.
Yes.
So
There you go.
get on it, people.
With the
Post a
confetti
cowboy.
next to it, so we all know.
So, by the way, grab your communion elements, everyone. That'll be the first announcement. And let me see what our participants here, what you all have brought. Share with everyone.
Well, I have coffee in my favorite Gloria's mug, and I have Maria cookies, which if you've never had these, you can find them in the international section of HEB. They're the Goya brand. They're so good. It's almost like a graham cracker, but better.
Oh man, that sounds good.
I have AHA orange and grapefruit and a Hershey Hug.
I got vanilla Coke and a Thin Mints. Girl Scout cookie time.
All right.
Nice. I've got coffee in not my favorite mug because all my favorite mugs are dirty. And what's left of my breakfast muffin.
Nice. Well, good. Well, hey, let's run through a few announcements here this morning. Let's see. Yes, the first one is this is the first week of our second round for the Metamorphosis cohort. For those who are signed up and doing that begins this week, this Thursday evening. We're really looking forward to that. The first round that we did last year was amazing. Everyone who participated loved it and grew so much, and paradigms were shattered and new perspectives gained. And we did all that in community, getting to know one another better. So that's a reminder for that. If you didn't get into this round, this cohort, we'll do it again in the future. And you're invited to join us. Reminder, our next in-person service is this next week, February 27th. Didn't we skip? We had to miss the January one, didn't we? Because there was kind of a COVID surge going on. So we are really looking forward to being back at the Texas Hall with everyone together. So see you there, 10 a.m. Reminder, Tiffany Leshper is leading a feminine product drive. So bring your donations for that next week to the in-person service. I think she's doing that the February in-person and the March, right? So both. Fantastic. Yeah. So bring your products. This is awesome. So mark your calendars. I put this on our Facebook page, but also March 15th, Saturday morning, Zach Dawes is leading a hike for us. So look for that announcement in your emails and on the Facebook page. But come out and hike. It's around Lake Georgetown. It's going to be great. Thanks, Dawes. March
Matt,
5th.
I think that's actually the 5th, not the 15th.
Oh,
The 15th is a Tuesday, so I don't think we're doing it then.
you just ruined my ultimate prank.
I'm sorry.
Guides of March, we all just end up in the Georgetown.
It's of March.
Everybody skip work. Go for a
yes.
hike.
You know.
That's March
So,
5th.
March 5th. It's a Saturday. Don't go on a Tuesday. Come on a Saturday. That's funny. I don't know who did those announcements for us, but you're fired. Just kidding. Don't leave. All right. So reminder, Lenten reflections. So we have this initiative where we have invited the community to sign up to offer a Lenten reflection. We have 2 spots left. It's something you'll write up. It'll be part of something that we send out to the community and we post publicly. Something easy, simple, a little reflection for Lent. You can do it. I believe in you. It doesn't have to be brilliant. You just have to offer your thoughts. Doesn't have to be long. It can be brief as well. So there's the link for that. So sign up and be a part of that. What else? Oh, Last Winter Book Group is meeting March 7th. So if you've been participating in that, or if you haven't, but you want to, I believe, is this Braiding Sweetgrass? Yeah. So if you haven't, or if you have, or you want to, whatever. So the last one for that will be 3/7. So jump in, even if you haven't participated yet. Yeah. Any other announcements? Look at my list here. I know we have one from Joyce. Okay, Joyce, would you mind giving your announcement, please?
Okay. The youth will, this Saturday at 9 o'clock, February 26th at 9 o'clock, the youth ages 11 through 14 will be meeting at San Gabriel Park. We're going to participate in Georgetown's tree planting event. We get to plant 3 trees. And the youth will just meet at around 9. And there's a green tent that'll be set up for volunteers, sign ups or, sign in. And they'll meet there and we'll be assigned to zone and everything. And then we'll work from about 9 till 12. And they're going to provide snacks for us. They want us to wear closed-toed shoes. I'm going to bring some tools. And we should probably dress warmly. It's going to be kind of cold. But I'm going to be sending out an email with more information this afternoon. And also I'm forwarding a letter from the Parks and Recreation Department that has an online volunteer waiver that has to be signed out for each child each youth that is participating. So you'll get all that information this afternoon. So just be looking for it and hope to see y'all there and then having fun with this, community event, representing Peace of Christ at a community event.
Thanks for all you do, Joyce, for our youth. It really means a lot. So thank you.
That's a great kid.
Yeah. At this point, our chiming will be led by our very own Haddon Henzelka, who for maybe 2 months now has been practicing and learning piano. So he's going to give us 10 G major chords. Okay? Here we go.
Good morning. We're here for the children's sermon. I'd like everyone who's gathered around this morning who's here to join us. Let's see, anyone? Riker, I thought Riker was here. Might be a little laggy. I have Ellis with me this morning. She's going to help us out. She has a lot of, Eva says hi. Hi, Eva. I can't read that far. Okay. John and Arthur. Oh my gosh, my eyes. I need new contacts, or I'm just close to 40. Sophie's here. Great. I truly cannot read that far. Okay, well, we'll get started. This is Ellis. Ellis, how old are you?
I'm 8.5 years old, almost 9.
Almost 9. Today we're going to talk about feelings. Does anybody have feelings this morning? Is anyone tired? I hope everyone slept well. We're not just going to talk about feelings. We're going to talk about what we do with our feelings. That's something really important because we all have feelings, and feelings are a good thing. So Ellis and I are both going to talk about some things that we do when we have big feelings, when we don't know what to do with our big feelings. So maybe you get really angry when your brother has the tablet or the iPad and you really wanted it first. And so you feel so angry. Or maybe you just feel overwhelmed from your day at school. I know school can get really loud and the lunchroom is so loud. And so when you get home, you feel really overwhelmed. What's something else that you might feel overwhelmed with? Maybe just a busy day. Sometimes we maybe like an excited day and you don't know what to do with your energy. So Matt's over here making faces at me. Okay, so we have some ideas and we want to share what we try to do with our feelings when we have big feelings that day. So one thing Ellis loves to do is she likes to get out where?
At nature.
Nature. Being out in nature. She loves to swing on the swings. She loves to be pushed in the swings, and she just loves to be silent. You don't need anything else, just you and nature, right?
Yep.
And sometimes we'll go on just a walk as soon as we get home from school, a family walk, just to take deep breaths and look around and listen for the birds. That really helps us transition when we get home from a busy day. So I like to, when I feel overwhelmed, I stop everything I'm doing and I think about what my body needs. And a lot of times I need a drink of water. I just need to stop and drink water. Give my body what it needs. What's something else you like to do, Ellis?
I like to put on these headphones and just listen to music.
What kind of music?
Like
really loud?
Like
music?
pop music.
Okay.
Not really classical or any of that.
Okay, so just you and music. Just listen to music. Nice. We also have this finger labyrinth. I don't use it that often, but the kids do. It's a dolphin. Can you see it? It's really cute. So where do you like to start when you do the labyrinth?
I like to start on its mouth right there, leading out either side.
And it takes you all the way in. It's calming. Does it calm
Yes.
you down? Yeah. It's really fun to do. What else?
I like to color in my mandala book.
She chooses to do that often. That's a really calming thing for her. She colors really beautiful pictures. Good job. Yeah. All right. Something else we got recently. This is called an ARG ball. Do you ever just feel like you just need to squeeze something? Well, this ball is great because I feel like I'm advertising it. I'm not. You can push it, you can squeeze it. What else can you do with it? Can you throw it down? Just get out your frustrations. You can smush it up against a wall. You can, what else? You can yell, maybe, get out any frustrations and twist it. It feels really, really good to move your body. Okay, what else you got, Ellis?
I've got this hug blanket. It's a weighted blanket, and it puts pressure down on you.
Yeah. This is a really good one. And I was going to put it on you to show them. Just wrap it around you for a minute. She will sometimes do this and climb up in her bed or her papa's maybe with her headphones on. And I really want one of these. They're really awesome. Hug blankets, what we call it. So those are some things we do. We would love to hear some other things that other people do to help with their feelings that day. Matt, I don't know what you're trying to tell me. I can't read that far.
A popper somebody uses.
Oh, a popper. Yeah, those little fidget things. Those are great. We have about 200 of those. So that's all we have for you today. We hope you have a good week. And if you have things to share, we'd love to hear from you as well. Thanks for listening.
Morning, everybody. Imagination has always been a fundamental part of my life, but I've only recently come to realize how imagination is also a fundamental part of my faith. And I think not only of my faith, but of any and all faith. Growing up, churches taught me that when we place limits on God, we're trying to rule over God and take his place. But even as they said this, I began to see that they were placing their own limits, such as Christ only died for the elect, or God is male, or you can't be LGBTQ plus and a Christian. Some of these I knew for lies the first time I heard them, but a lot of them I unconsciously took to heart without even thinking to question them. It wasn't the Bible that taught me these were lies either. For example, with the doctrines of Calvinism, with every Bible verse I knew that argued against it, the men I disagreed with had just as many Bible verses proving their case. But I knew it was wrong deep inside. Call it intuition or discernment, but lately I like to call it imagination. I could imagine the men, women, and children created and yet not elect, not worth their Creator's love. I could place myself in their shoes, and I could imagine just what kind of monstrous God actually would do something like that. And when I would read Proverbs, read the personified woman of wisdom, I imagined that maybe, just maybe, wouldn't it be wild if there was a fourth member of the Trinity and she was wisdom and she was female? After all, Proverbs 8 shows us wisdom present at creation. But I never voiced this private little conspiracy theory of mine because everyone knew that God was male. And finally, when I met my first gay Christian, I allowed myself to imagine how wonderful, how liberating it would be if he was right and what I had previously been taught was wrong. I asked him questions, I searched out books, and I learned. And this didn't just change my faith, it helped me see a path forward in deconstruction, and it inspired me to seek out this very community. Imagination brings us together. It helps us empathize with people not like us. It helps us learn, and it helps us grow. It helps us recognize the shackles of oppression, and it helps us find the courage to stand up and join the disenfranchised, to stand alongside the hurting and the outcast. Imagination helps us know the heart of the Creator, and it helps us break past the limits imposed on them by men in power. There is no relationship, no faith, without imagination. Now let's move to the meditation. God is within you.
God is
also within you. Lift up your hearts. We join in the beloved community. Let us give thanks for the blessing of life. Together we raise our voices in gratitude. Dear Creator, thank you for the mystery of faith and the gift of imagination, the ability to discern and to seek to know you better, and to weigh what is true and what is untrue. Great is the mystery of faith. Christ has reimagined death, and we join him in bringing heaven to earth.
Okay. Well, thanks for leading us in that, Joel, and thank you to our participants so far who have been contributing to the service. And here we have with us this morning one of my favorite people in the whole world. That is not even a little bit of hyperbole. Our very own Jana.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good.
We were mentioning, sorry?
I said it's been a good weekend, so I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we were mentioning this before the service began, but your hair is just on today. I just want you to know that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that's not weird to say that public, whatever. So we have you for our deeper look this morning.
Yes.
And it's like way overdue. I was very surprised we haven't done a deeper look with you yet.
Augie did it, but not me. So
yeah.
We're kind of the same person.
So let's just begin with our first question. Tell us about yourself.
So my name is Jana Munoz. I am, about myself. I'm from the Central Texas area. I was born and raised here. I was born in Georgetown, grew up in Liberty Hill, went to high school in Lago Vista. This is my home. All of my family's here. All of Augie's family's here. Augie and I are high school sweethearts. And so he's my favorite person. I am a clinical social worker. I work at Baylor Scott and White as the social worker for palliative care. If you don't know what palliative care is, please look it up. We are not hospice. But I work with seriously ill patients, and I'm a therapist and social worker that kind of helps navigate them through their serious illness and whatever that journey looks like. I have a big family here. Like I said, both sides of Augie and I's family live here. And so all of my family lives within like 20 minutes from me, except for my dad and a few sprinkling of others. But so we have a lot of our family around, so we do a lot of things with them. I'm a big fan of Harry Potter. If you didn't know, actually I have my Harry Potter shirt on today. I big fan of Taylor Swift and pop culture and all that kind of stuff. So I have kind of that serious side of my work life, but also outside of work, I do a lot of fun things. I like to run. I like to ride my bike. I don't really like to hike, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah. So yeah.
So if I remember correctly, you wrote something of a master's thesis paper on Harry Potter and Horcruxes and the Spirit of God.
Well, I wouldn't say it was a master thesis. It was for my capstone class. I wrote a hypothesis that, that the Holy Spirit was a lot like a Horcrux. And yes, I wish I could go back and edit it because I feel like I've learned so much more since then. But yes, I did write that for a graduate level class in seminary.
Yeah, nice. I like it.
And my professor made me read it out loud in front of everybody, and I was mortified. But I stood by my argument.
Yeah. Well, that's a great example of imagination, like Joel was talking about a minute ago.
Yeah.
So tell us something unique or eccentric about you that we just wouldn't know unless we knew you for 20 years and we got to see it. But we can short circuit that right now, and you're just going to let the world know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of an open book. Most people, I connect with people very quickly. So it's all out there. I think a lot of things, the one thing I guess is like, I'm fluent in Spanish, and that surprises people sometimes. And so they're like, oh, yeah. So that's one thing. I'm kind of quirky and have a lot of preferences about things. Some people call that pickiness. Some people call it, I don't know. I have strong preferences. So I I don't really have a whole lot of I wouldn't say weird things, but little quirks. And so I don't like my food to touch. I always wear shoes, like no matter what. I have shoes on right now. I don't like to go barefoot. Yeah, I'm actually really, I don't like to be startled. And so like going on walks, like hikes and stuff, I'm terrified of frogs. Like I'm not scared that I'm not scared to touch them. I'm scared they're gonna jump at me. And it's just I don't like to be startled. And so I often go walking with Sarah O'Brien, and she's like my frog watch. Like she's always watching out for frogs. It's just a leaf, Gina. It's okay. It's just a leaf. So she kind of protects me from the frogs. But yeah, I as far as like big revealing things, I don't have a lot of those, but I have the little things like don't like frogs.
Well,
they're
yeah,
too
that frog
deeper.
thing is going to stick with me for a while, to be honest.
You know, they're calm and quiet and collected until they're not, and you don't know when that's going to be. And it's like, you know, it can be startling. It's a thing.
My thing about frogs is where there's frogs, there's snakes, because they share a habitat, and snakes eat frogs.
Yeah, and I don't like snakes either. So
okay,
they're worse than frogs in my opinion. But yeah,
you're winning me over to team anti-frog.
Yeah, no frogs. No frogs. Only the chocolate ones at Harry Potter World.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Here's the bonus question you didn't have time to prepare for. The Jana of today goes back in time and encounters teenage Jana, and lets her know that you are the lead deacon at a Baptist church. What is her reaction, and what does she think that High Deaconess Jana does in her mind and worldview?
There would probably be some serious eye rolling going on because that's what teenage Jana did a lot of. I think that teenage Jana was probably in a place where, you know, as a teenager, I had left the church that I'd grown up in. Because of deacons and because of my dad was a pastor. And so like growing up as a preacher's kid, I saw the ugly side of deacons, I think, in my church. Our church doesn't have an ugly side of deacons, just so you know. But I saw a really painful side of deacons growing up. And so I would think that teenage Jana would probably roll her eyes and be like, and then I'd probably think you're crazy because I'm a female and that wasn't allowed. And so I'd never have met a female deacon. So I'd probably think you were lying or that I changed to some different religion of some sort. So that's a really good question that I'll have to like ponder over a little bit. But I think that I would probably be a little, I don't know, surprised and probably a little angry at myself, like why would you go back and do that?
Man.
But I think that, you know, I would hope that I would encourage older Jana, like do a better job than what you saw, than what you grew up with, and be more inclusive and be more loving and take care of those pastors and their families because that's important. So
wow,
that's what teenage Jana would tell.
Yeah.
So
hey, y'all, everybody watching this, can we just like take a moment and acknowledge that, you know, Jana is doing. This is what Jana and the deacons are doing. This is absolutely what they're doing. So younger teenage, you would be so proud, you know, after she got done rolling her eyes and all that.
Throwing some sass, you know.
Yeah. And for your last question, what are you most excited about in your spirituality these days?
Well, actually in March, I'm being ordained, as you know, and some of you might know. So I'm being ordained after like, I don't know, it's been, 11 years since I graduated from seminary. And it's been a weird journey for me, even through seminary and through the School of Social Work, and kind of trying to discern where my place is in this in this world and in this calling that I know that I've been given from God to be in people's lives, and kind of figuring out what that looks like. And growing up, I always thought that ministry just only happened in a church.
Mm.
And that to be ordained or to be a minister, that you had to be a pastor. And God knows I did not want that. And so, I think that for me, I'm really excited about kind of coming to this like sense of myself and kind of completion with my calling. Not that my calling is over or anything like that, but kind of recognizing it formally. One of my favorite things is whenever I meet people that I went to seminary with that I haven't seen in a long time, I tell them, "Oh, I'm a social worker," and they, "Oh, so you didn't go into ministry?" And I'm just like, "What?" And so I'm really excited to kind of give some validity to my calling that I know is not within the vocation of a church, but rather in the vocation of healthcare and in meeting people in probably one of the hardest situations of their life, and kind of being able to be a person of peace in that moment. And that's kind of what I call myself whenever I'm going into a room. Like, you're a person of peace, bring peace into this room, bring peace into this family. And I feel like that is my calling. And I feel like that is, and not peace as in there's no conflict, but peace, helping people find peace within themselves, peace with God, peace with their families, peace with their illness, to where they can move through this journey with some comfort. And so kind of having this kind of be like a mile marker on this journey of my calling of ordination. I'm really excited about that, and just getting to do that with people that have been a part of that journey for me, that have known me and seen me through it all. And I'm just really excited to kind of have that kind of punctuation in there. And I don't know if that's an exclamation mark or a comma or what, but I'm just really excited to kind of have that mile marker there.
Yes. And I see Jonathan's comment, social workers do more ministry than many of the pastors I've met through the years. Completely true. I
boundaries.
Yeah. Oh, I left chaplaincy to go to social work school because I'm like, I can't do my ministry well without this theoretical background and practice background and all that. So like, yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. I kind of never felt like I was just a pastor or just a minister or just a social worker. I was kind of this like in between, and didn't fit in either one. So, and that's okay.
Right. Yeah. Well, we could go on. I am so glad. We are so glad you're part of this community. I should have mentioned at the outset, you're our lead deacon. And you do just such a fantastic job with that. Our community is so well loved. All the community is so well loved because of you and the team. So thank you for that.
Thank y'all.
Okay. We love you. We'll talk to you later.
Okay, love y'all too.
Bye.
Well, it's hard to follow Jana because, I don't know, just knowing Jana, knowing how loving her heart is, she's just a joy to be around. And I can imagine how much good she does in her work, and what a ministry it is when people come in and she's interacting with them and, like she said, helping them through their journey. I'm going to read today from the New International Reader's Version. I'm going to read Matthew 14:34 through 36. And then I'm going to read chapter 15, 1 through 20. Kind of some hard words from Jesus. Okay. Starts with, they crossed over the lake and landed at Gennesaret. The men who lived there recognized Jesus. So they sent a message all over the nearby countryside, and people brought all those who were sick to Jesus. They begged him to let those who were sick just touch the edge of his clothes, and all who touched his clothes were healed. Some Pharisees and some teachers of the law came from Jerusalem to see Jesus, and they asked, "Why don't your disciples obey what the elders teach? Your disciples don't wash their hands before they eat." Jesus replied, "And why don't you obey God's command? You would rather follow your own teachings. God said, 'Honor your father and mother.' He also said, 'Anyone who asks for bad things to happen to their father or mother must be put to death.' But suppose people have something that might be used to help their parents. You allow them to say it is instead a gift set apart for God. So they do not need to honor their father or mother with their gift. You make the word of God useless in order to follow your own teachings. You pretenders. Isaiah was right when he prophesied about you. He said, "These people honor me by what they say, but their hearts are far away from me. Their worship doesn't mean anything to me. They teach nothing but human rules." Jesus called the crowd to him, and he said, "Listen and understand. What goes into someone's mouth does not make them unclean. It's what comes out of their mouth that makes them unclean." Then the disciples came to him and they asked, "Do you know that the Pharisees were angry when they heard you?" Jesus replied, "They are plants that my Father in heaven has not planted. They will be pulled up by the roots. Leave the Pharisees. They are blind guides. If one blind person leads another blind person, both of them will fall into a pit." Peter said, "Explain this to us." "Don't you understand yet?" Jesus asked him. "Don't you see? Everything that enters the mouth goes into the stomach, and then it goes out the body. But the things that come out of a person's mouth come from the heart. Those are the things that make someone unclean. Evil thoughts come out of a person's heart. So do murder, adultery, and other sexual sins. And so do stealing, false witness, and telling lies about others. Those are the things that make you unclean. But eating without washing your hands does not make you unclean." These are the words of God, or we hear the voice of God through these words. Thanks be to God.
Thank you, Joyce, for leading our reading today. Yeah, those are tough words from Jesus in response to some Pharisees and teachers of the law displeased with the good work he's doing. So thank you. As a long reading, thank you for doing it for us. We are in our second week of this series we are calling Midwinter Midwifery, this sense that God is birthing new things in us, even in the midst of winter. And I'm glad to be able to share it with you this morning. Let me start out by telling a story. So when I was in college, I went with my youth and college group on a trip to Colorado Springs. We were actually going to a youth and college conference at a very well-known mega church. That's all I'll say. And for who I was during that time of life, I rather enjoyed it. It was pretty meaningful to me. But we had a plan to take a day off and go out into nature and experience nature, because it's Colorado Springs, because it's not central freaking Texas. It's beautiful up there. The weather's nice. And our youth leader said, "We're going to go to the Garden of the Gods." And I'd never heard of this place before. I'm like, the Garden of the Gods? Oh, it must be incredible. He's like, "Yeah, it's incredible. It's going to be the most incredible nature experience you've ever had. You're going to love it. It's going to be amazing." And I mean, he talked it up. But we took a charter bus up there. He talked it up the whole time while we were driving up there, leading up to it, driving up the mountain from our hotel up to it. He's talking, it's going to be so great, blah, blah. So we get there, and the first thing that happens before we are allowed to get off the bus is a park ranger gets on to address us all. I guess he heard there's a busload of, high schoolers and college students coming into his park. I don't know why. Somehow he gets on there. And three times before we're allowed to depart the bus, he says to us, "You have to stay on the sidewalk." We were reminded of the park policies multiple times. We were threatened. He told us, "You're going to damage nature if you get off the sidewalk. You're going to be bitten by snakes, rattlesnakes. You're going to get lost. You're going to wind up dehydrated, and then you're going to damage nature, and then you're going to get lost, and then you're going to die, and then your body's going to be bitten by snakes. don't get off the sidewalk, not even one step. So we get off the bus, and sure enough, there's a concrete sidewalk right there. And we spent the next 2 hours in what was supposed to be this glorious place, walking on a sidewalk. And I probably could have enjoyed the scenery from the sidewalk. I probably could have, if like my head wasn't so full of this park ranger being so aggressive about never stepping off the concrete. That's all I could think about. And I'm sure he had good intentions, and he was doing his job to keep people safe and protect the rock formations for future generations. And all of that institutional wariness and memory, somehow it had become codified into policies that seem to destroy the very purpose of experiencing the beauty of nature that day. We couldn't get off the sidewalk, and I couldn't enjoy this place, the Garden of the Gods. So, as I said, we're in this series, Midwinter, Midwifery, or the idea that in this winter season, God is likely at work birthing something new in your life. Is anyone feeling that? Does anyone feel like there's something new going on in here? There are some seeds that their shells have cracked open from all the winter moisture, and something small is happening in here. Anyone? I just invite you, make a comment if so. I'm just curious if that resonates with any of you. And I do want to mention Fran's sermon last week was amazing as she introduced this series for us, using a lot of the divine feminine imagery for us of the midwife and God as midwife in our lives. Make sure you listen to Fran's sermon. But I want to offer some thoughts on some of the opposition that you may encounter as you find yourself responding to these new things that God is doing in your life. So believe it or not, these little bundles of joy that are percolating and growing and germinating in here, these new things God is prompting inside you, they will not always be welcomed with open arms in this world. You know what I'm saying? Can I get an amen? Anybody resonate with that? In the text that Joyce read for us a moment ago, Jesus lands in a place. Jesus crosses over the sea, which you'll notice if you read the Gospels, something significant always happens as soon as Jesus crosses over a body of water. So he crosses over, and all of a sudden, all the sick in the region flock to him, and they're brought to him, and they're healed immediately. But there's this problem, the text tells us. Rituals are not being followed. Religious rituals and practices and standards and SOPs, standard operating procedures, are not being respected. And the text says, then some Pharisees and teachers of the law came to Jesus from Jerusalem and asked, why do your disciples break the tradition of the elders? They don't wash their hands before they eat. They don't do the ritual purification that they're supposed to do before they eat. They don't follow the right religious rituals. In other words, why do they get off the sidewalk? We have these rules. You stay on the sidewalk. Now, let me be clear. I'm not against rituals. Not at all. I've seen how a good ritual can ground us or root us. Ritual is so important to this community, to the community of peace, that it's one of the 5 areas that we focus in on our baptism catechism, which some of our kiddos are going through starting today. But it's one of the 5 core areas that we say is really important to the Christian life, ritual. I've seen how ritual can center us and stabilize us in our most important moments. I've been at the bedside at the hospital when a matriarch passes away and the family goes into an absolute frenzy, not knowing what to do. And I'm standing in the midst of this tornado and I say, hey, everyone, would it be okay if we pause and we gather around her and we hold hands and we offer a prayer of thanksgiving for this life? And whoosh, everything changes in a moment as soon as I bring us back to this ritual of prayer, ritual of holding hands and gathering around a loved one. Immediately, the environment changes. I've been called into postpartum rooms in the hospital to baptize babies at times because ritual is important, because ritual weaves us into this invisible but no less real garment for our souls and our psyches. And parents want their babies to live with this reminder, to be woven into this invisible garment that they have been born into, to cover their being. Ritual does that for us. But sometimes, like I'm saying, God births something new in us, and the patterns of behavior, the rituals of this world that we're used to, they no longer fit. Many in this community, many in the community of peace, have taken their faith and their spirituality in a different direction than some people would have liked them to do. God is birthing something new in them, a new awareness, a new passion, a new way of working for the wholeness of their little slice of the world, and this isn't well received. You hear things like, "We didn't teach you to interpret the Bible that way. That's not how we brought you up. That's not how we do things. We don't associate with those kind of people. You need to stay on the sidewalk." And Aurelia, friend, and I have had members of this community reach out to us with heavy and broken hearts at times, saying that their love for God and for neighbor and for creation is at an all-time high. It's the strongest that it's ever been. And so is the disdain that they get from family and friends and church members. And this is creating such incredible dissonance for them. I have never felt closer to God and more alive and more passionate and more like I'm responding to the call I have in this world. And I've never faced so much opposition from people in the church. They're both at all-time highs. And after lamenting with them for a while about that, because that is a grief journey, we talk about how they were taught to radically love and follow Jesus by this community. And now that's what they're doing. And that's what's getting them in trouble. And the irony of that, and they're at this fork in the road. Will they be obedient to the rituals and paradigms of their community, or will they be obedient to following this passion for Jesus? I'm thinking of the Jordans right now. Joel's on this morning. I know they've gone through this journey. I know so many in this community have gone through that journey. But this is my first point. Sometimes when you actually decide to work with God to birth new things through you into this world, you will get in trouble. That's just how it is. People won't like it. That's just how it is. Our text says that the Pharisees and the teachers of the law came from Jerusalem. They came all the way from Jerusalem. I don't know who called these guys in from out of town, these experts. And I don't know who said, Pharisees and teachers of the law, you two have some significant theological differences, but you need to get together and you need to load up in the church van and you need to drive all the way across the county because you got to get over here and tell Jesus what he is doing wrong. And that's what they do. They mean to indict him and put an end to all this free healthcare and free food and free forgiveness from God that he is just giving away for free. We can't do it that way. It's pretty hard to find fault with these things. So they decide to get him on a technicality. You can't really find fault with like healing people, feeding people, caring for people, psychologically, spiritually, emotionally liberating people, but you can get somebody on a technicality, and that's what they do. And for the record, this is what it's like when you live in a disembodied, rigid, dehumanized, theo-bureaucratic hell. And I don't mean that as a swipe at Judaism. I mean that as a swipe at any human system that is so enamored with its own rules that it's illegal or unethical or uncouth to respond to what God is birthing in you, to respond to God's liberating work in your life, to partner with God in healing the world. We still have these systems today. If you look around, and you don't have to look very hard, it's like when the Border Patrol make it illegal to leave gallons of water for migrants in the desert, because that's considered littering. This literally happens. People literally get arrested for leaving gallons of water in the desert to try to stop people from becoming dehydrated and lost and die in the desert as they are trying to migrate. That's illegal to leave water. Or it's like when I was at my high school job at HEB, and every night we had to throw away all the leftover cooked foods, put them in a sealed trash compactor so people wouldn't try to get them out and eat. Because again, I'll use my phrase, I like it so much. This is what it's like to live in a disembodied, rigid, dehumanized, theo-bureaucratic hell. I say theo-bureaucratic because it's not just about, a bureaucracy needing uniformity and processes and control, but it has this veneer of divine judgment and religious morality slapped on top of it to make it where you can't challenge it. And we see that in the text. The way the Gospel of Mark tells this story, this very same story, it says the Pharisees and all the Jews do this ritualistic hand washing. Why don't your disciples do the rituals before eating like they're supposed to? Whoa, all the Jews, all 100% of them? Oh, you mean all the real Jews do the rituals, or you mean all the Jews that God likes do the rituals, right? And so in response, Jesus quotes the prophet Isaiah to them. And Jesus says, "These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me." And he ties it to this funny accounting practice that they have come up with, where they give some of their assets, some of their money to the temple, so they don't have to use that money to financially support family members. Technically, they're right, but they have so significantly missed the heart and the intent of God's law that they are functionally wrong. And this is my second point. As I'm trying to respond to the new things that I sense God doing in my life and calling me to do, I would rather be functionally right or directionally right. I'm headed in the right direction than to only be technically right. I've checked all the right boxes. I've made sure I'm not breaking any rules. I've made sure I can't be indicted. I've made sure to play it safe. I'm technically right, but I'm missing the entire point and intent. I am functionally completely off base. I would rather practice a bold love imperfectly than perfectly maintain a soulless correctness. One of my favorite lines from the reformer Martin Luther was when he wrote that Christians have the responsibility to love God and to sin boldly. We have the responsibility to love God, sin boldly. And now from here, Jesus goes on into a discourse about the human heart. It's really fascinating. This is the direction he goes. In this passage, he doesn't aim the bulk of his criticism at tradition or the Pharisees or the elders or hand washing or any of it. He turns for some reason, and it's really fascinating, his criticism to the human heart. 11 times he mentions the human and the human heart. I'm certainly not one of those humans are totally depraved kind of people. That's not my theology. I don't believe that. I think it's wrong. But what I hear Jesus saying here in this text is that if we're not careful, there is something about us that takes a good tradition, a good incentive, a good goal, a good act, and we morph it into something that entirely misses the point. There's something about us that God might be doing something new and amazing and beautiful and life-giving in us. And if we're not careful, we can morph that and we can miss the point. We figure out how to look holy and good with our hands and our words and our wallets, but we miss the point with our hearts. We find ways around taking care of people. We fall into patterns and lazy thinking, and we miss the intent. Our minds literally develop grooves and neural pathways that they mindlessly begin to default to, and we lose the curiosity and the capacity and the compassion that birth new realities around us. We call these cognitive biases, right? We call these rules of thumb. They are the concrete sidewalks through the garden of the gods if we're not careful. And I think Jesus here is giving us this warning. You know, the Pharisees come to him and they're like, you don't do the rituals, you can't be doing it right. And Jesus looks at it and goes, you know, you have completely missed the point. I'm sure it started out good with God doing something new and great and amazing. And somehow you allowed that to get morphed into something that completely misses the point for what God is doing. And so I offer to you the idea this morning that we have to always be encountering the living God who defies human traditions, the one who is always birthing us into new life, even though those around us don't get it or like it, even though it's going to be messy, chaotic, imperfect, even now. In the middle of winter, when it doesn't seem like things should be sprouting, it is already starting now, even in the middle of whatever you have going on in your life. I want to close this morning by inviting those who want to participate to join in for a little imaginative moment with me. Given all that we've talked about this morning, if you want to have a little imaginative moment with me, I'd like to invite you. I'll lead us through a little guided meditation. So if you want to join, I invite you. Take a breath. Find a comfortable sitting position. Let your body sink into what's holding it right now. Let your shoulders relax. They don't have to hold the world up anymore. Just let them relax. Let your arms rest by your side. You can close your eyes or keep them open, whatever's most comfortable for you. Begin to notice how your tummy rises and falls with each breath you take effortlessly. Now, imagine with me that you are walking through your favorite landscape, whatever that is, mountains, forest, seaside, desert, you pick. You're walking and you're on a well-worn path, one that you're not supposed to leave. You're on a well-worn path, one you're supposed to stay on. From here, you notice the beauty of nature. From here, you notice how expansive it is. The weather is perfect. The sky is beautiful. And it begins to calm you, and your pace begins to slow. You're no longer trying to capture and take it all in. It is beginning to capture you and hold you. The more you behold the beauty around you, the more it beholds you. You feel alive. It would be so nice to linger here. You look over and you see a bench a ways off the path. You have no schedule, you're in no rush. Can you leave the path? Can you go sit on the bench? After pausing for several moments, you decide to do so. You've left the path. You make your way to the bench, each step more freeing. You come into a clearing. It's beautiful. You see new views. You see the distance. So you sit, just being. just breathing. You notice the path is still there. It's not going anywhere. When you're ready, you can return to it. So you turn your attention back to the sanctuary of creation that you have discovered off the path. The colors, the sounds, the sensations against your skin. Inevitably, your mind returns to a challenge you've been going through in your life. Something that's just been gnawing, been below the surface, something you've been carrying with you. It's there too. You wonder how those who live in this nature sanctuary around you would solve this problem. These little prophets out in nature, those who don't tax their lives with rules in fear of breaking them. The squirrel, the hawk, the vine, those who are free to move over fences and step off of paths and simply move toward full bellies and sunlight. What do they have to teach you? You notice the wind, the breeze, and you think of those words of Jesus where he says, the Spirit of God is like the wind, blowing where it will. That same Spirit lives in you. What wisdom does the wind bring you? The very free Spirit of God. After the right amount of time, you have some clarity, at least another step's worth. A new possibility has been birthed in you, even if it's just a new resolve or a new measure of peace. You look back toward the path. You can take it or not. You notice that there are other ways to get to where you want. So you stand and you take your steps, less burdened, more free, moving in the direction God is calling you, moving toward life. I invite you at this moment to open your eyes if you had them closed. I invite you to take those steps, carrying all that wisdom that you just discovered, and carrying along with you that expansive, beautiful, wisdom-filled sanctuary that you are in. And may our God, who is always birthing newness in us, new life, new possibilities, carry you on that journey. Amen.
Hi. If I look like I've been crying, it's because I have been. That hit really deep for me. So I am going to read the Litany for Fretting. I'm going to read in the normal print, and you all can follow along in the bold. God, in these days it's easy for us to fret over political divisions, over potential wars and conflicts, over the possibility of losing our way of life, over the future of our planet, over an endless array of problems and threats. This anxiety can immobilize us and render us as useless. Again and again, we must commit our way to you, God, just to stay mentally balanced and functional. Again and again, we remind ourselves of God's love and care, which resides within each of us. The Spirit of God is alive and well upon the earth because we carry. I'm sorry, I'm going to start over because I skipped like 4 lines, and that's my fault. Matt did a great job with his sermons, so I'm going to start over because I'm emotional, and that's okay. God, in these days, it's easy for us to fret over political divisions, over potential wars and conflicts, over the possibility of losing our way of life, over the future of our planet, over an endless array of problems and threats. This anxiety can immobilize us and render us as useless. Again and again, we must commit our way to you, God, just to stay mentally balanced and functional. Again and again, we remind ourselves of God's love and care, which resides within each of us. The Spirit of God is alive and well upon the earth because we carry it in our hearts, our body, and our consciousness. We are of dust. We are also of heaven. Help us to identify ourselves by way of the imperishable Spirit, the true self. Help us to refrain from anger and avoid raging against human beings. Instead, we mind our business and manage our thoughts. Help us to simply trust in you and do good, to enjoy the security of closeness with you. We have no power over world matters, except to be here as representatives of love, anchoring the peace of Christ into the world by our presence here and our commitment to heaven on earth. And that is our work. The work of peace that starts on the inside of each of us. We consent again to the way of Christ as described in the Beatitudes, to listen, love our enemies, do good, to keep peace, to share, to be merciful, to neither judge nor condemn, but instead to forgive. By keeping to our proper work, focusing on gratitude and trust, we stay out of worry, anxiety, and fretting over this and that. In meekness, we prosper no matter what happens. Amen.
And I am going to lead us in our benediction. Lord, you are ascending God. You sent your word to create. You sent Christ to reveal. You sent your Spirit to empower. You sent your church to proclaim.
Send us, O God,
So God,
to
renew the earth.
Lead us by your Spirit and your word. As your people, we now go. By our love, we'll make you known.
People of God, you are sent. Go in peace for peace. Amen.
Amen. Okay, we love you all. Have a fantastic week. We have a lot going on this week, so jump in and participate as you're able. Peace.